And the reason why you want to buy in a great location is because properties in great locations will never lose that much value, or they will rebound the fastest. That's what's the most important thing that you got to do. And then you have to still make sure it cash flows. You can't get into a property where you're losing money every month.
Any news? I think something else that people would be like wanting to listen to right now is not even necessarily like specific to like large multifamily properties. I think people would find, and I know you're not buying any individual like properties right now, but I think people would really be interested in, if you were in this market, what would you look for? How would you navigate it? Like all that type of stuff.
Yeah. In this market, I would be really careful.
Like, let's say, for example, you only had a budget of like $100,000 cash to like get started into something, and beyond just Coachwood Capital, obviously, like invest in Coachwood Capital is the number one option.
Yeah.
But if you were to like go and do something, or recommend to someone to how to do something on their own, what would you say?
I would be very careful in terms of location. So in markets like this, I'd be very careful with location where I bought the property, and then I would also make sure that it's cash flowing. So what we're seeing right now is decreasing values, increasing rents. And the reason why we're seeing that is because the interest rates are increasing at a higher rate than prices are coming down. So it's creating this misconception that things are getting less or becoming more affordable, and they're actually becoming less affordable because the affordability index on a property is increasing because the interest rates are increasing so much. Yeah. So
I just read this article over the weekend, actually, that there was this study that was done on affordability in housing across the U.S. And in California right now, in order to afford the average home, so whatever the average housing price in all of the state of California is, in order to afford that home, your household income has to be $201,000.
Interesting.
To afford the average home, which is wild. That affordability ratio is the highest, meaning the least affordable, that it's ever been in history.
Yeah. And prices are coming down. So that's obviously driving the rental market significantly. So I still think right now is still a time to buy, simply based on that. I'm seeing it over in Canton Manor, right? Like that's an affordable style of building, but the rents are skyrocketing, right? Because people can't buy homes in the area. They're not qualifying based on their income to buy a $400,000 home. Yeah.
So if you were to go after like an actual, let's say either single family or small multi, like what would you do?
You would have to buy in a great location, and you would have to make sure that thing cash flows. And the reason why you want to buy in a great location is because properties in great locations will never lose that much value, or they will rebound the fastest. Properties in shitty locations, it will take the longest for them to rebound, and they will lose the most amount of value. That's what's the most important thing that you got to do. And then you have to still make sure it cash flows. You can't get into a property where you're losing money every month, unless it's like, again, I have properties that I lose on every single month, but it's like they're on the water. There's development opportunities. So I'll take that sacrifice for those reasons, because there's going to be a windfall down the road. But I will not do that unless I know that these properties, that there's going to be a windfall down the road. There's no way. And I don't recommend anybody else do that unless you're like a seasoned investor, or you like have bank to make sure that like you can cover yourself for the interim until things change.
But getting started and either like getting your first property or growing a small portfolio, you'd say like don't go after those speculative things.
No, absolutely. Right now is the worst time to do that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you go out, you do your speculating as soon as like the market starts to turn. Even when in the hottest type of market, like think about if you would have speculated or purchase property based off speculation back in like March, where would you be now? You're fucked, right? Especially if you can't sustain, or you can't sustain the increases of mortgage rates, and you bought on speculation. You're going to be hurt. Like, you're going to be hurting right now. You better be able to carry that. So no, you don't speculate right now. That's why a lot of like right now is the worst time to develop property. It's the worst. It's not that it's not possible. It's the fucking worst time. You never develop property. If you're a smart investor, you transition your strategies right now, and you buy for cash flow, or you buy for location, or right now you have to be an opportunistic buyer. If you're a developer, what you do is you buy You buy, which is what I'm doing. You buy property. The last property that I bought, it's a large lot, and it's zoned to be able to build duplexes on it. Right now, there's only a single family home on it. When the market turns, I'm going to develop that property so that I'm developing it on the upswing.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm buying property, the golf course, even though I plan on keeping it a golf course for the foreseeable future. At the end of the day, there's 150 acres there. Right? I'm buying land. It's an opportunistic buy.
Yeah.
And it's covering itself in the interim. Am I going to get rich from the golf course? No. But it's going to cover itself until, in the event in the future it's ready to be developed? Yes, absolutely. Or, someone sees a value in it, maybe in, say in 10 years, 15, 20 years, I want to sell it. We've improved the numbers on the golf course. It's worth X amount of dollars. And now it's zoned where, hey, if somebody walks in, they can actually develop if they want, or they can keep it a golf course if they want, something like that. That was an opportunistic buy. It was a very strategic buy.
Yeah.
But right now, you do not develop anything. Right now, what you do is you hoard developable strategic land or projects until the market turns and you start developing on the upswing. That's what you want to do.
Yeah.